Yes, Commissioners, this is a conditional use permit for a industrial building that Chiron has been using for the past several years and now wishes to make modifications to in order to accommodate their activities and also make sure that they have enough space to be flexible with during their construction process.
Could I interrupt you for just a second? I have a potential conflict of interest and would like to recuse myself from this one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Improvements would be added to the facility to reconfigure it for about 15,000 square feet of new office area, a machine shop, and to increase the storage area for the building. I also will note that part of this building, the triangular piece facing Landrigan, is to be removed if the roadway is built by June 1, 1999. The improvements will be, improvements also have been recommended to you with regard to the curbs and gutters and sidewalk areas around the building. And the parking required for this use is proposed to be met by some on-site spaces that are currently being leased by Chiron, but the majority of the spaces are to be met through a parking management plan that Chiron must comply with anyway as part of their reconstruction project throughout the next several years. We found this use or these uses to be appropriate to this zone and to the building, the historical use of the building, as well as how Chiron has been using it during the past few years. Before you, at your desks, are some minor revisions to the proposed initial study and resolution pertaining to the mitigation measures which were identified. Chiron has reviewed the documents, and in order to make the description of these more accurate and also to present and demonstrate that they would not be using or doing any hazardous waste chemical treatment, we recommend these modifications and insertions. In addition to that, there's a proposed finding that is to be added to the resolution, which is on the first page of that. So with that, I would recommend that you approve the use permit with the mitigations and conditions of approval as set forth in the resolution, which would approve the negative declaration and the use permit for this use with the proposed revision to both the minor revisions to the initial study and the proposed additional finding for the resolution. I'll be glad to address any questions.
Questions to staff before we open the public hearing? None? Okay, this public hearing is open on this item. Anybody wishing to speak? Don't rush up. Okay. Public hearing is closed. Okay, commissioner comments? Questions? I got a couple. Mine. The southern tip of the building is going to be removed in 1999?
Or by 99.
Okay. And so what's the impact on of that removal in terms of the mitigations that we're doing? Anything major?
No, we actually think that there may be opportunities to improve the sort of the look of that building on that side through the removal of that sort of odd triangular shape, and to put some, the fact that the project will move forward with in phases, that around the building there'll be Horton Landrigan and the Stanford Street improvements that will include landscaping, sidewalks, gutters, and so I think that we'll get some significant improvement just in around the building. I looked at the building and also Chiron has quite earnestly with regard to what you can do to improve the visual appearance. There's not much. It's just sort of, that's the way the building is. So by improving the outward appearance and the street improvements around it, I think that we'll get some significant benefits.
And the other thing, I just refresh my memory, the environmental services facility, this is on the item that we were handed today, and there was another building that you said the biosafety, where was it? Anyway, there were two buildings you mentioned that weren't involved in this project. Now these buildings or these facilities will be involved later, is that what we're saying?
No, there's only, the use permit that is before you is only for the Chiron Peladeau building.
Okay, right, yeah. Okay.
And some maintenance and storage facilities that are on the main campus are going to be transferred over, and this really will provide Chiron the flexibility that they need to temporarily relocate some office workers to, they propose to relocate their maintenance facility in this building. There's a machine shop that's proposed to be incorporated into this facility so that they have the flexibility as they make major movements within their own campus to accommodate the changes that will occur.
Okay.
I have a question. Ultimately, though, like this maybe 10 years from now, when their entire complex is finished, I am being positive here, what's going to happen to this building?
They have a lease that runs in 5-year increments. They might want to comment directly on that, on how long their lease options are. In response to that, I've put a limitation that this permit does not run with the land, that it runs as long as Chiron has the lease, because only they could put the parking in place that is required for this building and this use.
Because in a long-term thought, this was never really in mind for us to keep the building, so I just want to make sure. Is that in the conditions?
Yeah, it's it's contained in 1B, and it basically states this conditional use permit shall not run with the property but shall be effective only during the period that the Chiron Corporation leases the building. And that's linked to the fact that they can only meet their parking requirement through off-site requirements, which they control.
Thank you. That was my only question.
Any other questions? Is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to make any statement? No?
I move approval. Oh, well.
Good evening. I'm Jane Stratton, Vice President and Associate General Counsel of Chiron. I appreciate the Planning Commission's review of this application. As I'm sure you are aware, we had all anticipated that by this time our initial building would have been completed and we would be occupying it. However, that was not to be, and so we have had to look to alternative solutions. We have occupied the Peladeau warehouse for some time, and there has been space that has not been used. Frankly, we believe in Emeryville generally that is a luxury that neither Chiron nor Emeryville can live with. So we would like to, as I say, put some of our functions that will eventually go into the main campus, into the building on an interim basis. As staff states, we understand clearly that the use permit is only for our occupancy, and we understand that at the time we vacated it, that whoever comes in would have to seek new approvals.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Claudia, you want to call the roll on that?
Yes. Commissioner Caffey?
Aye.
Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Commissioner Germain?
Aye.
Commissioner